Good day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in and welcome to our webinar AI for Everyone with two great guys from our customer Siemens Healthineers. Before we start the actual content, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Swantje Schulze. I'm your host of the day, and I am the VP of Revenue at Knime for EMEA. Today's speakers are Maxime. He's the product owner for the Knime service at Siemens Healthineers. And we have Kartik, the technical brain who's a solution architect and knows everything about Knime. Okay. So, the agenda. I'll first introduce you to Knime for those who don't know us yet. I'll make that really quick about the product, the company, and also what the benefit for the business is. And then I'll give you an introduction to GenAI and how it can be made reliable for your business. And then I'll hand over to Siemens Healthineers, and they'll talk about who they are, the GenAI challenges for IT and business. They will talk about some use cases that they've built with GenAI and Knime, and they will also look underneath the hood what it looks like in terms of workflows. And last but not least, we'll finish off with questions and answers. So, about Knime. Who are we? We came from the open source. We're a spin-off of a university in Germany, so we're software made in Europe. And it's always been important to us to be open and integrative. We have a large community in the open source space that have built more than 10,000 workflows. And it's the boast slide, what I call it. Look at the logos below there. All of these customers use Knime and get benefits out of it. Now, what is Knime? Let me quickly explain this with this graph. When you build a workflow, usually this is done by coders, and normal business people cannot understand code, so it rests a bit untransparent what is being done with the data. With Knime, everything is transparent, and it is easy to connect to existing data sources because we have more than 300 data connectors. So basically, you take your existing data sources, you use a Knime connector, pull the data out of it, put it into a Knime workflow, and it's everything along the data process, like from cleaning and aggregating to like building models and then running them in constant production and let me say, build dashboards or whatever. But you don't have to use our onboarded dashboard functionality. You can also use a REST API and give the data product to third-party applications. And you can also use the existing tools that you use in-house, like Qlik, Power BI, Tableau, whatever. And of course, we support all new technology like Databricks, Snowflake, and AWS, Azure, whatever you have where your data lies. And what is very important, we are always at the edge in new technology innovation. For example, when DeepSeek came out, it took us only 2 days to come up with a connector to DeepSeek. Now, the benefit of this visual low-code, no-code programming, where you build a workflow with little bricks that look like Lego and that do the work for you and that you can fully automate, is that data products can no longer only be built by data scientists and expert analysts, but now even business users can build products and consume them on their own. And you can see with that, Knime serves 5 different persona types. And I'm saying 5 because IT is also very important for security, for data governance and compliance. Now, how does the business benefit from Knime? Today, more than ever, it's super important to increase efficiency, reduce cost, and, for example, make your supply chain resilient and drive innovation within your company at a very, very fast speed to have a fast time to market. And all of this can be done with Knime. And here's just a couple of examples of other customers that have improved the top line revenue and also decreased the bottom line cost and made AI or analytics available to everybody in the company. You can see here, for example, Continental has more than 6,000 Knime users, and there's Rabobank, who increased efficiency by 90%. And what you can see with these little examples is that we're totally kind of line of business agnostic. You can use it anywhere in the organization. And Forrester has done an official investigation with existing customers and came up with the following results. So on average, these customers said that their ROI with Knime is 453%, and that they are already kind of at a payback mode where their investment paid off in less than 6 months. And the next slide, this is probably not readable for you because the letters are just too small, but what we want to express with this is throughout the whole company, in each department, there are so many use cases that can be solved with Knime that you can see it really is beneficial for everyone. Now, GenAI, which is kind of, everybody's testing it. Many companies are not really in production with it, is on the one hand a driver for innovation within your company. And you can definitely use Knime for all the not coding people to drive innovation. But then also, what about risk and compliance? You want to make sure that GenAI is completely governed, and you can do that with Knime as well, because you always have full control over who's using which language model and who has access rights and how do you control it before it goes live, etc., etc. There's a couple of ways that you can use GenAI, and let me start with the first two ones, elevate and delegate, because Knime has some sort of co-pilot built in. We call it the Knime AI, in short, Kai. And with Kai, you can learn how to use Knime by asking questions. Which node do I need for this? Can you help me build a data app analytics graph? Can you help me code in Python? And you can even delegate full tasks and say, can you please write the following workflow for me? This is what I want to achieve. And Knime, the Knime AI Kai will do it for you. The next way to use GenAI with Knime is to amplify existing data products. So you might have had a workflow in pure analytics, and now you see that it can be significantly improved by adding a large language model functionality to it. And we have a lot of extensions in Knime for all the existing large language models, vector stores, whatever. This is just an example of how we use a workflow with a large language model internally at Knime. We have built this questionnaire assistant for RFIs. So an RFI comes in and we just put the questions into this workflow, and the workflow gives us answers. That saves us hundreds of hours of time to complete these questionnaires. And then next, which is also very important, you can safeguard the usage of large language models by increasing data privacy, using MS Presidio, for example, to anonymize the data in the workflow. And what you can also do is you can do quality checks, with Giscard. And something that our customers find super important is manage and govern. On the one hand, you want to control which large language models are my users using. Some are forbidden in-house, and you can do that with Knime. And the other thing is you can also do some cost control and see how much have you used with a certain model that is paid. Since agentic AI is top of mind for everybody, it's the next new hype, I didn't want to end my presentation without quickly mentioning it. and the role of Knime for agentic AI. So agentic AI is simply taking the human factor out of data products and is letting AI agents do the work for you. And this could be the next big step in the evolution of data analytics and AI. And let me show you, just to clarify some of the basic words in agentic AI. So agentic AI consists of tools that are getting stuff done. For example, aggregate these data sources or classify this image, etc. Okay. Then the next thing is you have intelligent tools. They do the same thing, but also use a large language model. And then you have AI workflows where you put together a series of tools to get to a certain outcome. So what you do is you have a gigantic task and you break it down into small pieces, like web services, so to speak, and make every little tool do one step along the way. And how does Knime fit into this? You can compare all the different workflows that you build to tools, and you have all these workflows in one library, and that's the Knime Hub. And then you want to create agentic applications. This can be done with our data apps. And you want to create agentic services, and this can be done with our REST workflows. So basically, Knime is fully set up to build agentic workflows. And with that, I'll hand over to Maxime from Siemens Healthineers and let him and Kartik, tell us how they use Knime to build Gen AI workflows. Here you go.
Yeah, thank you, Sven. Thank you. I mean, first of all, thanks for having us here today and for the invite. As Svante said, we're gonna tell you briefly in the beginning who we are, a few words about me, Kartik, our company. Then we're gonna proceed and talk about the GenAI challenges which we had in our company, how we solved it, and I think this is the most exciting part. Later, Kartik will show to you the GenAI use cases and also some examples around RAG. But I would say first things first, right, guys? So who are we actually? So my name is Maxime. I'm part of Siemens Healthineers since 3 years. I'm also with me as the company started actually the Knime journey. And yeah, I'm responsible around everything around the Knime product. Kartik joined Siemens Healthineers 2 years ago, and he picked up responsibilities, everything around the product and solutioning part for our clients and customers. So as you already can see, we are from Siemens Healthineers, and as a company, Siemens Healthineers, you might already got in touch with our products. If some of your family members needed an MRI or CT, our company is market leader in those areas. And yeah, as you can see, digitalization, data, and AI is briefly kind of core of all our activities, core of all our products, not only outside to customers, but also inside. We always try to get better. And yeah, we do this because we believe this is the best way, including AI, data, and be data-driven, AI-driven, just to deliver the best end results. Yeah. But as I said, let's talk about the most exciting topic right now, Gen AI, or even Svante mentioned, it's actually already agentic AI, right? So yeah, I remember when Gen AI come up, or actually ChatGPT, large language models, and everyone kind of was feeling the hype right around it because everyone got access to it. It was so easy, and if you were not a technical person, you were just able to log into OpenAI and start chatting, asking your questions. In my opinion, I mean, the last big hype which I experienced was blockchain, and my feeling was this time it was even bigger because it was so easy to participate in that hype. I mean, let me know and ping you maybe your experience comments here in the chat. Also, would be interesting if you feel the hype was kind of pretty huge. Yeah, and as you can see, even the tech world and everyone like Sam Altman, Bill Gates, companies like McKinsey, everyone was promising that that is actually will change the world, the work environment, how we do it. And yeah, with all this hype, all the people who were actually in their private life testing out ChatGPT, we all come down at work and we're talking about, hey, how can we bring this experience also to our company, but at the same time also bring value. So me and Kardik, we are part of Siemens Healthineers IT. Then you have, of course, also Siemens Healthineers business with all the supporting functions. And this is actually what we have experienced with GenAI. This is a very simplified picture how it was in the beginning. We had IT, we had business, and actually everyone was having their own, I would say, silos in which we are trying to work things out, find the proper use cases. The IT team was busy to building up, first of all, skill set and expertise around GenAI. We were also talking and discussing a lot of data privacy, performance topics, actually whatever you can imagine, but more from a technical perspective. And at the same time, business, of course, they knew, I mean, they were part of the hype. They wanted also, to find good use cases to show the value, and they also were busy with some topics. Yeah, so that's actually a big thing: a rapid prototyping, compliance, business know-how. This is what was kind of mainly on their side, the ideas which they had. But we had a kind of a conflict, I would describe it, because we from IT were very technical, but we didn't have any business cases for it because we IT we don't own the data. At least in our case, in Siemens Healthineers, it's all with business, and business they needed someone who has the capabilities to do it. But at the same time, as you might already know, AI, Gen AI is it's not cheap, so we wanted kind of try and very fast approach to find the best use case. Also, the rapid prototyping part was very important here. So yeah, actually, in this case, this is actually, in our opinion, the sweet spot for Knime. And we come both together, IT and Siemens, and Siemens Healthineers business together. And Knime was a kind of had a role in the middle as a translator because of, as Svante mentioned before, this low code interface helps a lot. Everyone can catch up and understand what's happening. Everyone can also follow up, even I mean, the easy steps like data transformation, data cleansing, which has to be done. Everything was kind of all this I would call technical level of complexity was reduced here with Knime, because those little nodes you just have to pull out, configure, and we from our IT perspective was it was much easier speaking with the business, explaining actually what we are doing, but also following their feedback on the data flow and also on the results. So it helps us really with Knime to focus first on the business problem, not on IT topics, not on tools. We really put business problem first, and then based on that, we try to apply Gen AI, or also even figure out if Gen AI the right approach for it to do it. We were working on that and figuring out if maybe the problem could be solved with other AI techniques. Once you figure out this is a good Gen AI use case, it's also easy to put it into production because you have the scalable data apps where you just once you build it, which also reduces the development time for interfaces because it's just reusable nodes which you can also package to components. You can share it easily. Also with citizen developers or other teams who are working on similar topics, and just easily scale up and add more users, and also test this scalability of an application with Knime. So as I already mentioned, and improve the collaboration, put the business problem first, and also concepts like rack or even chunk size selection. It's pretty easy to do this with Knime because it's so no, I wouldn't say intuitive, but it's just once you read the basic about the concepts and you get, for example, from your IT colleague, a finalized workflow, it's very easy to understand what's happening from left to right in this workflow. And of course, what we did once we create those workflows and apps, we were also able to provide it to our community. So they can also reuse it, be creative, and start working on their own ideas. And this is, as also Svante mentioned, helps to save a lot of money as a company, because you can't have everywhere high-end skilled GenAI experts. And yeah, this idea behind sharing workflows, bringing everyone together, help us a lot to improve and also drive this Gen AI hype and simplify everything for everyone to find the best use cases. Yeah.
Thank you, Maxime. Quick question from my side. Can you give us an example of a data app?
Oh, we have many data apps. I would say one good example is one finance data apps from tax department. It's actually a chatbot which we built for one country, and then it's easy because also to share it with other countries, whether you just add more data or additional filters, or you just copy paste the data app and put it to a different, or give it to a different team. But Kati can show us more and tell us more about it, because I think we brought this use case today with us.
Okay. It's actually a use case that we often see where we're often present in finance and audit and tax departments. So yeah, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Today we are excited to thanks Maxime for the brief overview on challenges that we had. Today we are excited to share some of the innovative use cases that we are working on to enhance various aspects of our operation and services. So the first one is the sales support. So we have many exemplary use cases that we are currently working on the GenAI aspects. So the sales support team has a comprehensive database of that includes PowerPoint presentation, Word documents, and videos, where they are referring for the resources when a customer asks a question. So how navigating through this extensive database could be daunting, and it can be time consuming as well. So what the ask is to address this, we build a data app where they can ask a question, and the chatbot would be able to provide an answer and guide them to the relevant videos or a document where the answer or the citation has been generated there. So this customizable chatbot that we have built, we created a solution to provide an easy access to them, to the vast knowledge base, including the videos and documents that is there. The second use case that we have is navigating through the compliance information can be a daunting task. So the team already has a power app where all these informations are curated, and user will be able to navigate and go through these power apps for referring to the various compliance topics that there. But again, so here going through each topics which is relevant to what they wanted to know could be tedious, and it also could be time consuming. So what we have created is, so here Knime is acting as a backend service where we would be having a REST deployment where all the power app knowledge base is then converted as a model where the user can say they would have a chat interface with the power app where they can ask a question. So this would then call the Knime service deployment behind the scenes, and then Knime does the heavy lifting there, and it does provide a answer to the user, and this helps improving process efficiency, making it easier for the users to locate relevant topics and stay relevant to the and stay compliant as well. The next use case that we are currently working on is we are utilizing the Kafka consumer cluster to stream data. So it also employing text to SQL, where text to SQL where whenever a user asks a questions or when they ask a question, it is converted to a text to SQL. And additionally, we perform data transformations. Once we know the data sets that is filtered out and come, we use this data transformation before sending it to LLM to generate a response that is there. The another use case that we are currently working on is the tax query, so which Maxima has already pointed out. So we have created a data app where so the tax queries could be complex and time consuming. To assist business, they wanted to have a tax. They wanted to have they have a knowledge base, and they wanted to have a chatbot which can give them an answer to the questions, anything related to tax certificate and anything related to tax related questions. So the knowledge base that we already have it, and we already have a pre-built Knime workflows which efficiently does this tax certificate collecting this information. So this use case is an agentic approach where based on the user questions, this would then decide which Knime workflow to call and then execute the workflow, and then it then comes back and gives the data to the supervisor agent, which would then be responsible to giving an answer to the user on the contextual response that it has given there.
Super interesting. You know, we provide GenAI workshops to customers in order to identify useful GenAI use cases and prioritize them. How did you do this?
So given the growing buzz around GenAI, so our business users were eager to understand how this technology can be leveraged in their business lines. To address this, we showcase the potential. So we build a simple prototype using Knime, saying this is the capability that we have. And once we show the capability of Knime, and then we then had a mapping session with the business to understand what the problem is. So once we were able to identify and have a design thinking workshop that conducted to identify the problem statement, then we worked on the use case, and we brought up these ideas which can be converted to a potential use case, and then which can help business to grow as well.
Cool.
Yeah, moving on. So here is the RAG architecture. So we have several documents. This is the RAG architecture for the sales assistant chatbot that we have created, where we have a combination of PowerPoint and a Word documents and videos. And what we used is we use Knime's transformation nodes for extracting the information or text from that. And then we have a videos where we use the Azure Speech Service to load there and then extract text, transcript the text from there. And combining all this, we use the text embedding model to create a vector database, and then we stored it as a model in Knime. So the second aspect is where the chatbot interface would come. So the user can ask a question, and then the embedding model will then go to the vector database to retrieve the top 5 matching contents that is there, and then it will then send it to the chat model to generate a user response that is there.
So here you have some sort of chat front end. How are other models consumed?
Yeah, so we have a combination of, say, some use cases the user wanted to have a front end where they can ask a question. There is also a case where we use Knime as a backend service, where we would be deploying we would be deploying the solution as a REST service. And then for example, on the Power App or the compliance use case, we already had an existing Power App. So the business was, maybe we were not willing to change the front end, which is already rolled out for several years for the users to go and fetch the information there. So that's wherein we then quickly thought that REST deployment with Knime, where we can integrate with the Power App, and as well as with the REST interface, we would be able to integrate with the different services there. So we have a combination of Power App as well as the REST interface that is there, and then we would be using it for the end users to do it. Moving on. So we have a model creator and the knowledge base that we have. So herein we have several nodes that we use it for extracting the information. For example, if you have a PDF and we want to extract content from the PDF, we use this PDF parser node and extracting the information from there. And for Word document and the other thing, we use the Tika parser to extract the sentence, and then we combine all these things into a one table where we then do some transformation to clean up the thing. And we also had several sites or websites where we want to scrape the information. So some of the cases, we, for example, for to scrape data from a SharePoint, we have to use the Graph API endpoint to go and extract the information from there. As well as we also had some videos where we were using the Azure Speech Service. So here is the flow where we would be loading the videos one by one, and then we would be sending it to Azure Speech Service using the Python script, which would then give us the transcript with which we will be combining everything to create a knowledge base that is there. And here is the chat interface. So we have a data app that we deployed. So in the data app, these are the critical components which is responsible for generating the user response. So whenever a user asks a question, so we combine the question that is being asked, and then we create a prompt which says that these are the certain set of rules that the LLM should know. And then we combine everything, and we first retrieve it using the vector store retriever to find the similarity search for that. And with that, with our prompt, we send it to LLM prompter to generate a response which would give a contextual response to the user question that is being asked there. So this is how the data app looks like. So where you will have an interface where the user can go and enter the questions, and then this would then let's say call the let's say based on the questions that the user asked, it will decide to call whether to call a Knime workflow, or if it has already has the knowledge information that is available in the model, it would then generate a response to it. So the one good or one advantage that we had with Knime is we can start small. So business comes up with a problem statement, we have to do an ideation to see whether this is possible to create a solution there. So where we start small with a knowledge base or a solution that they have done, so we do a rapid prototyping there and show them the capability. So once we have the complete use case onboarded, then it is easy for us to scale and replicate the thing. So it also provides the reusable component, as Maxime suggested previously, which really helps us to bring down the development time that is available there. So we have whatever the use cases that we are working on, we create a reusable components, which is easy for the developers to easily adapt and then reuse it to create the solution for the different use cases that we have. Yeah, that's all we have.
Thank you, Kartik. And before I take a question from the audience, I have a question for Maxime. Maxime, I know you decided to create a center of excellence. And why did you choose a low-code, no-code platform in the first place? And why did you build a center of excellence?
Yeah, that's a good question. So actually, when we were starting with Knime, we decided to go with two pillars. One is citizen development, and the second one is center of excellence. So first of all, low code helps us a lot to also drive data and AI literacy in the company because it makes more accessible. You don't have to know how to write Python code. So for all the citizen developers who actually have to do a lot of, I would call it data engineering work, for example, in finance controlling, who have always to deal with a lot of data because they're building reports. Knime was already a great fit because you don't have to learn R, Python, or whatever is there. So yeah. And the second part was because we wanted to, the idea was really to focus more on business problems and be very fast and also do something which is affordable. And we also learned in the past that sometimes citizen development is not sufficient enough, especially if the use cases are getting kind of more and more complex, because then you need still some technical knowledge. You also then need someone, because if you build good, let's call it a data app as a data product, right, or a product, you need also maintenance there because people are leaving the team, leaving the company, and then no one takes care of it anymore. So with our center of excellence approach, we offer kind of end-to-end service really from ideation phase to maintenance. So you can come to us, we consult you, is it really the best tool, the best solution? And then we go through with the customers, finding use cases, building them, maintaining, taking care of all compliance. And yeah, at the same time, what we also able to generate is, of course, cool components, cool workflows, which are reusable and can be, of course, also given back to the community, so they have a lot of fun and can, just plug and play. That's the idea behind it.
Thank you. And the next question I get from the audience is probably something for Kartik. How to guarantee the quality of the answer for the chatbot?
Yeah, so one is to control using the prompt to validate, or we have this LLM. Let's say the answer, we can validate the quality. Maybe we have the Discord that is available in Knime, where you can probably validate the accuracy of the response where the answer is generated. Or in the prompt itself, we are trying to control it and then see whether this is an answer that we can show to the end user, or probably something that we need to track it internally so that we can increase the accuracy of the chatbot as well. So it's the accuracy more relies on the data, that how model that we pre-process and do it, and then we control it using the prompt, and then we also do some validation before sending it to the business user.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is probably also for you, Kartik. I don't know. What is the typical batch size in your flow? That's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yes, it depends on the use case. So I mean, so we as for the agentic one, we try to call different things to combine the response. If the answer is not available, we try to go again and try to loop through the workflows to find what the relevant thing. But it completely depends on the use case and the complexity of how it is there to design that.
Okay, the next question is maybe also for Maxime. I'll just let you pick it. Where is your Knime deployed? On Azure or something else?
Yes, it's in our internal Azure cloud.
Okay, your internal Azure cloud. So can you describe how do you collect ideas, use cases from the business, and how do you evaluate these for implementation? Is there a specific team, organization that is running such to manage what gets developed next?
I think this is, Kartik, we can actually split the question for you and me. I'll start. So actually, for Knime, it's not only me and Kartik, and actually also we're part of a bigger team called Intelligence Process Automation, where we have more tools like ServiceNow, RPA also, and we have a lot of business analysts, delivery manager, and we communicate a lot with the business. Of course, they come up with ideas. Some businesses know already what they want because they have very advanced digi teams within the business. And second option is this is what we are running right now, for example, with the finance community. It's called ideation sprints, where they come up with some ideas where we kind of sit together with them and I would say more design thinking workshop concept. They describe us their day-to-day work, the problems, issues. We try to map it, define the potential return on invest behind it. Then we see which technology is more suitable, and then if it is kind of we moving it into our pipeline. Or sometimes also the business wants to develop it, and there, for example, Kartik acts as a guide. But yeah, it's always in a collaboration. But sometimes we have also interesting ideas because we follow up what's on the market, what other companies does, and proactively come with some ideas to the business, to audit, finance, procurement, say, hey, are you interested in trying this out? So it's actually, there's no clear answer. It's just being proactive. And yeah, Kartik, maybe you can add some words to it.
Yeah, so maybe once the design thinking or where we do the mapping session to identify whether this is a potential thing which can be solved with Knime. So then we pick it up and then we do a small prototype in saying, okay, this is something that can be doable with Knime. With that, we also do the quality check whether, okay, how accurate is the result based on what the business expectation is there. With that, then we pick it up and then we do the actual development that is there.
Question for Maxime. Are you using data apps and or Power BI/Tableau for visualization?
I mean, us as a primary Knime team, we are actually always going with data apps, and also our developers, Kartik and the other guys, are creating own visualization components if they are not there in the original Knime package. But yeah, the business sometimes always uses Power BI in our company. They transform the data with Knime and then push to the Power BI server to have the nice visualizations. And also some business people are more used to Power BI front ends.
Yeah, to adding to that, I think mostly what we are using it of say if there is a fancy visualization that is being expected, that's probably a bit tricky to create with Knime. So heavy transformation that is required. That is where we are using Knime for transforming it, preparing the data that is required for Power BI for the visualization. But for most of the things, also we use data apps with the visualization for some medium to let's say less complex level use cases as a visualization there.
The next question, what would you caution to watch out for companies who are just starting on this journey?
In my opinion, try to track the value, especially if you're going for the Knime Hub solution, because you want to show, because there are so many different platforms outside the market. And yeah, always put business problems first and try to track the value of your Knime use cases, whatever you're doing. And yeah, I would say that's in my opinion the most important KPI as a service owner. But yeah, Kartik, maybe you have one or two different views
I
on
mean,
it.
the cost could be the thing. If they are starting with GenAI to understand which platform would give them the traceability or trackability of what's happening to everything, and the cost that is probably that is coming with that. So that's something that also could be considered for starting as well.
Can you elaborate on the type of KPI you implemented for Knime usage?
Yes, we have a report which we can execute anytime actually. So the one part is for the Center of Excellence, where we get an overview of all our use cases, stages, whatever return on invest we are getting with each use case. And the second slide, which we are creating, we have things like amount of workflows running on the hub, time of execution. But yeah, maybe Kartik, on the hub KPIs, you can just give also an overview on 2 or 3 more.
Yeah, I mean, so mostly how many executions that is being done at the granular level, which user has executed how many jobs, and at the metrics level, as Maxim said, we also track about how many internally with the analytics platform, right? We also track about the software center version, or what we call it as where the rollout has happened. So as an organization wide, how many users have installed Knime. On the business up level, we track about how many users has a license and how many executions or how many deployments they have done it, how many workflows they have uploaded it, and how often the jobs are being executed. So we have automated this, and as we also created a reporting where we can generate at any point of time. Pick a date from so and so, and then it could generate an immediate report of the KPI metrics that is available. That we are giving to our management for tracking as well.
A question from my side. Have you built a workflow with Knime that tracks the business value of Knime, like the return?
Yeah, we did. So for as well for Center of Excellence as for I would say for our citizen development. I mean, it's more than on this side on the citizen development, more an estimate. But yeah, we built even a nice data app which gives us a nice overview. And by the end of the day, if you need this a PowerPoint, you can also download this as a slide. Yes, it's built in Knime.
Awesome. Do we have another question? Oh, yes, we have. There's plenty of questions coming in. What advice would you offer for handling anonymization issues? Do you understand the question?
Yes, I think so. So for us, I'm just thinking from our company's perspective, because we are a healthcare company. We are very strict here on health data protection. So whenever majority of our users are applying to get access to the data, they have to take care of it already. Also, the data is already in some parts anonymized. In case if it's not, and you have some critical data, especially with in Germany with the data law protection. In our case, you have exactly to explain why you need it, how you're gonna to anonymize the data. And this is actually pretty tricky, because then it really depends on the use case level. So there's no clear answer, in my opinion. It really comes down to use case, what type of data it is, and which country. So yeah, I can't give a general answer here, but Kartik?
So we in Knime perspective, we have several nodes which can do the anonymization, but it depends. As Maxim said, what the use case is, what the ask could be there. So what data, what they wanted to hide it. So do they need it later back to probably to see and showcase as well. So that's something that depends on the use case level to design and then do it as well.
Thank you. I'll wait another minute if we get one more question. And if not, I'm saying thank you so much, Maxim and Kartik. Thank you for sharing these business insights. I think it was really, really helpful for the people online. And I would like to get to the next slide, if I may.
Thank you.
Because if you're interested in further information, if you want to get in touch with us, please click on Contact Us, and we will reach out to you the soonest we can. Thank you for listening in today. It was a pleasure seeing all the questions coming in, great engagement. And again, thank you so much to our speakers from Siemens Healthineers, and you have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.